Okay. Thank you all for participating at the ISACA's series of these webinars, which are done by CISOs in the country's leading entities. So we have come to the final session because the last session we couldn't deliver due to a urgency from the CISO's end. So apologies for that. But today we have a special topic taken up together because in the today's digital economy, businesses face various challenges in meeting their environmental, social, and governance responsibilities. We call it ESG. And of course, it is coupled with the robust cybersecurity and privacy issues, which cannot be separate. So concerns relating to these areas are really challenging for organizations to achieve. And both cybersecurity and ESG goes hand in hand. And we have today Ms. Sunari Dandenia, who will take us through this area because I have no doubt that she has the enough uh, qualifications from the academic and professional both. And more than that, the hands-on experience in this domain of handling ESG and cybersecurity together in her own organization. And for CISO's community, Sunari is not a somebody who's unknown because currently in the banking sector, she leads the CISO's community, which was established and doing a great job for the banking industry. So I leave Sunari to go through the subject matter as an expert. One message to all the participants. I think today we have the highest number of participation for this kind of webinars that we had. So in order to make sure that this session becomes a fruitful session, all of you are welcome to shoot your questions to the chat box and as well as the Q&A box, which is open to all of you. Okay, so that with that understanding, I think I can hand the session over to Sunari. Sunari, over to you. I'm pretty sure they will ask enough and more questions to fulfill their objectives. Please support Isaka and the community who has joined with us. Over to you, Sunari.
Thank you, Indika. Thank you for that introduction, and I hope I'll be able to do justice. So it's good to hear that there is a good set of participants who have joined us today. So a very good evening to all of you. And at the onset, let me take a moment to thank Indika, the ISACA Sri Lanka local chapter, and FITIS for this opportunity to join this 8-part webinar series for CISOs. So my peers have already covered some trending and important topics related to cyber and information security in the previous sessions. And as we wrap up this webinar series, so today I'm honored to be here today as the CISO of Commercial Bank of Ceylon PLC and to share some thoughts on a topic that is increasingly becoming central to how we define responsible businesses. So, Indika, I hope my screen is visible.
All good, all good. Please go ahead.
Okay, right. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me start with a sobering thought as we delve into this subject. So, just a couple of days ago, 24th July 2025, humanity hits a critical milestone, which is what we call the Earth Overshoot Day. So for those of you who are not very familiar with this, frankly, even I was not very familiar with this until I started doing some research on this matter. So basically, as of this day, 24 July 2025, we have used up the planet's annual budget for the year. So what does it mean? If we have used up the annual budget for the year, it means that for the remaining 5 months of this year, we are going to run on borrowed resources and we are going to tap into the ecological future of our children. And what is more scary is that over the years, this Earth Overshoot Day has crept earlier and earlier. For instance, they have the stats from 1971. So in 1971, the Earth Overshoot Day has fallen in December, which means we have done a pretty good job of managing the annual budget. But uh, came, as we progressed, this day has crept earlier and earlier. And in 2025, this day has fallen as early as July. So I think this is not just an environmental statistic, it is a wake up call. And it reflects a much deeper reality about the way we operate, maybe as organizations, as governments, or even as individuals. So we would no longer be sustainable if we are using up the resources that are meant for 1 year within 7 months. We are definitely not doing something right. So this is where the ESG, and for those of who are wondering what ESG is, it stands for environmental, social, and governance. So this is where this ESG framework comes into the picture. Then there's another often overlooked aspect to this crisis, which is the environmental footprint that we leave due to our digital infrastructure. So we are in a highly connected, digitalized world. And unfortunately, the very technologies that we use to secure our data and our information systems have become a toll on the environment, because the amount of water and energy that is consumed to protect our information is having a toll on the environment. So, this brings us to the question as to how we need to look at cybersecurity to align with the ESG principles. So, this is the lens we are going to explore today, the rising role of cybersecurity in ESG. Okay, so moving forward, let us first take a look at what ESG entails. So, as you all know, traditionally, businesses, corporates have mainly focused on profits, financial profits. But over the years, this has changed to what we call the triple bottom line. So now more and more businesses, ethical businesses, socially responsible businesses are just looking beyond the financial performances, and they are looking at the environmental and social performances. Uh, and of course, the governance part of it, they are looking at beyond the financial performance. So uh, basically, ESG frameworks are about how sustainable and ethical impacts of a corporate financial interest are measured as performance indicators. And if we look at how ESG over a period of time has become a corporate strategy. So originally at the beginning, ESG was sort of looked at as a corporate social responsibility. But today it has become far more than that, mainly because of the changing expectations of the stakeholders. Many businesses, the role that the businesses play in the society are under the microscope, and more and more attention is being paid to how socially responsible the corporates are operating. So today, I mean, traditionally, again, investors used to look at solely the financial returns, but more and more investors, especially the overseas investors, are looking at the ESG impact the corporates are having on the businesses are having. The ESG impact are also factored into before making investments. And the consumer expectations. Today's customers, especially the younger generation, they look for transparency, ethical behavior, and accountability on the brands that they use. And of course, the regulations are also tightening their requirements. So across the globe, many regulators are now mandating comprehensive ESG disclosures. When it comes to annual reporting, these disclosures are made mandatory. So it is moving from voluntary to compliance driven. And of course, as I said, so we are living in a highly digitalized world. So as operations are getting digitalized, ESG performances have a huge dependency on cybersecurity in terms of securing data, managing the risks, and building cyber resilience. And of course, there are some emerging trends uh, that we see. So, for instance, most of the global reports, like global entities like the World Economic Forum, they are looking at AI-driven cyber threats, deepfake frauds, all these cybersecurity attacks as key ESG relevant risks. And on the other hand, there are other cybersecurity firms, such as one such group is called Group IB. So they are saying that by dismantling botnets that are used for cyber attacks, they have managed to avoid 10,000 tons of carbon emission. So it's not just a fad anymore. So there are tangible links between cybersecurity and sustainability. In fact, this is the point I want to drive. So sometimes sustainability, ESG, these things can be seen as buzzwords, but it has an actual link, is what I want to highlight. Okay, so if we delve into the three pillars of ESG a little further, so basically, I mean, the terms are pretty basic. So environmental is basically about making sure that we preserve a healthy environment and acting responsibly about the environment. So these include managing energy consumption, managing water usage, managing what we call the greenhouse gas emissions, managing the carbon footprint, ensuring biodiversity, and adapting to climate change, things like that. And social is basically managing relationship with the stakeholders, let it be the employees, customers, investors, communities. So how corporates contribute to a strong social image. So again, traditionally, this has been about human rights, diversity, equity, and inclusion, health and safety. But now data protection and privacy has also become an important aspect of social pillar of ESG. Of course, governance is about internal controls and regulations. So this is about financial transparency, compliance, risk management. So uh, now across these three pillars, because of the world that we live in today and because of the digitalization, cybersecurity has become a foundational element across these three pillars. So I think the critical question is, where exactly does the C or the cybersecurity fit into in ESG? So although there is no explicit C in ESG, so as I explained earlier, it underpins all of these three pillars in the present environment that we are operating on. So now I would like to get into a little detail about this, the C aspect of each of these pillars, so that we'll get a better understanding of this intersection between cybersecurity and ESG. So let's first look at the E part of it, that is the environmental impact of cybersecurity. So basically, if you look at the environmental impact of cybersecurity, I think we can look at it in two main angles. So first, now this cyber risks that lead to environmental incidents. So one aspect is that through cyber risks, there can be environmental incidents. And the other part is, paradoxically, the very systems, the cybersecurity or information security controls that we use to protect the systems itself can have a impact on the environmental aspect. So what I mean is, so for instance, now when cyber attacks target critical infrastructure, like maybe power plants, water treatment, likewise, so this can have an impact on the environment. So I think there are so many examples of cyber attacks targeting critical infrastructure. So like one example is like hackers trying to poison water supply of Florida City. So, by hacking into the water system, they have managed to increase the amount of sodium hydroxide that should be added to the treatment system. So, this has these types of incidents, uh, cyber attacks targeting critical infrastructure. So, it has an impact on the ESG. So, there is a cybersecurity failure. This leads to environmental pollutions, and also attacks on operational technology and industrial control systems are always on the rise. So this impact the E aspect of the ESG phenomena. Then the other part of it, as I said, so the very technologies that we use to build in resilience to protect the ESG aspects can result in environmental externalities. For example, so cloud computing. If you look at cloud computing, so cloud computing can reduce the carbon footprint. So by moving out from on-prem infrastructure, so it can reduce the carbon footprint that an organization uh, is using. So this can reduce the power demand, lowering the energy consumption. But on the flip side, it can raise the data security risk because now your data is on a third party. So it has an impact on the cyber security aspect. Then also there are different IoT devices. So IoT devices are often used to monitor like they are used in smart buildings, industrial applications to reduce, for example, the energy consumption. But again, I'm sure you would have heard of many instances where these create IoT has created a new cybersecurity attack vector. So unless the proper cybersecurity controls are implemented on these IoT devices, these can be vulnerable to cyber attacks. So, I mean, there are so many examples. So, in some time back, there was an instance where US Food and Drug Administration had to recall around 500,000 pacemakers because the hackers have run down the battery and altering the patient's heartbeat. So, there are that kind of attacks on IoT devices, the very devices which we use to reduce emissions. Then, of course, if we look at the use of AI, so increasingly we are relying on technologies like artificial intelligence, the agentic AI, especially for defending the critical infrastructure. So we use it for incident monitoring, threat intelligence to detect anomalies, and for automated incident response. So all of these AI, which we use for defending the critical infrastructure. On the other hand, these need I mean, enormous amounts of energy and water to run the data centers uh, and the resources which is needed to use this AI. Then we all know in information security, we are always talking about resilience. So uh, the, if you're talking about critical infrastructure or even our individual organizations, so we are also always talking about disaster recovery sites, secondary sites. But the very fact that we are increasing the number of data centers mean there is increased use of energy consumption. So there is this very paradoxical connection between cybersecurity and environment. So it is important that we create a synergy and a balance between cyber resilience and the sustainable operation. So we will come to these points as we move forward. So just to give some statistics on the environmental impacts of the latest phenomena, AI. So, for instance, a single AI query, ChatGPT, which we all use very frequently, it is said that it consumes approximately 2.9 watt hours, about 10 times more energy than a Google search. So, which means every time we use ChatGPT to correct a letter we could have very well written on our own, or you use it to do plan a menu or something. So you are having a carbon, you are creating a carbon footprint. So also training these GPTs require enormous amounts of electricity. So it's said that GPT-3 has used electricity, which is equivalent to one person's energy use over 120 years. So again, global data centers are also consuming enormous amounts of electricity, and not only electricity. So running these data centers also require cooling systems, which is having a footprint on the water usage. So again and again, it is important that we use green energy and go for green cybersecurity. As I said, we'll come to that point subsequently. So this is about the environmental aspect of the ESG. So, Indika, should we take a pause here? Do we have any questions, or should I proceed?
Please proceed. No questions as of now. I think they are
Okay,
seriously listening to your subject matter. So let's give them a little time to pose questions.
sure. Okay, right. So, moving on to the second pillar, which is the social aspect. Okay, so how does cybersecurity fit into the social aspect of ESG? So, if you just look at the current threat landscape, I think that gives you a very good idea of uh, how cybersecurity is impacting the society. So, these are some very alarming statistics, I would say. So, global cybercrime is at an all-time high, which is 10 point. It is said that cybercrime would cost $10.5 trillion by end of 2025. So, just to put it into context, so if you consider cybercrime as an economy, so it is so huge that it'll fit in as the third largest economy in the world. So that is this 10.5 trillion. So it will just be behind the economies of USA and China. So we are talking cybercrime. So cybercrime. So how do they earn this 10.5 trillion dollars is at the expense of societies, whether it is governments, whether it is individuals, or whether it is organizations. So, cybercrime is having a huge impact on the society. And so it says that as we speak, there is a cyber attack happening because every 39 seconds, cyber attacks are happening. Then the average cost of a data breach in 2024, according to a IBM report, it is about $4.88 million. So obviously, it is having a huge impact on the society because, as I said, how cybercrime makes money is at the expense of the society. Then, if you delve into it further, so uh, constantly there are attacks, cyber attacks on critical services. So let it be healthcare, finance, transport. So when these critical services are under cyber attacks, obviously these are going to have a huge impact on the society. So there are so many examples, but I'm just taking one. There is this famous case of the Colonial Pipeline in the US, which underwent a ransomware attack in 2021. So now this led to, I mean, to huge chaos from a social point of view, because this led to fuel shortages, panic buying, and so the government could not provide the necessary fuel for a period of time. So there are economic consequences. So there is a huge social impact on how cyber security impact the society. So as I said, constantly we hear how health sector is targeted, the finance sector, of course, even in Sri Lanka, there are, I mean, the number of the cyber attacks, let it be through social engineering, let it be phishing. We recently had an instance where uh, mm, like a financial sector organization was attacked through a ransomware attack. So based on that, there was data that was leaked. Then so many individuals are losing their data and money because of these different cyber attacks. So that is the social aspect of it. Uh, so in this today's digital world, of course, like the organization's ability to protect data and privacy is directly linked to how the society looks at these entities. So it's kind of a social license to operate. So today, failure to protect data and data privacy has a huge impact on the finances and the reputational aspects of a company, because today public trust, maintaining public trust, digital trust is very, very important for any organization to operate. So let it be finance, health, government. So we are moving towards a digital society, which means that cyber resilience is very important. And of course, it is not even a good to do thing anymore, because if you don't maintain the proper cybersecurity, uh, we can lose business as customers lose trust in us. And also, now it's not even a choice anymore. So you all know that Personal Data Protection Act is going to get enacted in Sri Lanka very soon. So there was a time when companies used to think, okay, when you collect customers' data, it is for it is company has the right to use that data in any way that they want. But this is not the case anymore. So data protection acts are prevalent all over the world. With the Data Protection Act, customers' ownership for data is very much established. And if you do not maintain that, it can have huge repercussions leading up to penalties. So you must be able to give the right for the customer to either delete data or to remove data or to have the data updated, so on and so forth. And of course, again, when we use AI, there are concerns related to data ethics. So these algorithms that we use to train these AI models, they can have inherent biases based on the data that is used to train these models. So now these can result in unfairly affecting uh, the different individuals and society. For example, if an AI model that we use to do a credit scoring is flawed, then it might result in giving unfavorable or unfair results in lending. I'm taking an example from a bank. So it might lead to like treating certain individuals unfairly. So it is very important that we have proper governance structures around our AI and models that we use to make sure that the models are properly validated and there are no biases or hallucinations that are creeping in to these AI models. Of course, digital literacy. Now, as I said, there is an increasing amount of cyber attacks or scams that are happening even in Sri Lanka, based on like online and digital scams that are happening. So it is up to the corporates, especially for the financial institutions, to make sure that the required amount of awareness is provided to these your consumers so that they don't fall for these scams and lose their money and personal information. Okay, so moving on to the governance aspect of the ESG. So today, of course, cybersecurity and cyber risks are a uh, governance concern for any organization because today it has become a boardroom topic. So in this digitalized world, we are depending more and more on digital infrastructure and systems. So which means there are more focus on cyber attacks and having proper governance, having proper risk management, integrating it into the overall enterprise risk management system is very, very important. And cyber risk governance is very much needed. And because of this implication, various global and even locally, there are so many cyber regulations that have come into the picture. For instance, if you are in the financial sector, the banking sector, you know that regulators, central bank has issued very detailed guidelines on technology and cyber resilience. It is because cyber risks can cripple an entire economy because if, for example, what you call a domestically systemic important bank becomes a victim of a cyber attack, it can have a ripple effect on the economy. So, cybersecurity governance is a very, very important aspect. Cyber risk management as part of overall governance is important. Then, so not only there are cyber security related regulations, there are also ESG related regulations, which we will move on to in a minute. Then, as I said, of course, investors are increasingly looking at cyber posture as a critical governance metric. So they are not only looking at the financials anymore. Responsible investors are looking at how well cybersecurity governance is done in organizations. For example, if IFC is going to fund a bank or for some lending activity, so their questionnaire these days have a separate detailed section on the governance aspect. So even some corporates, like when they want to, especially multinationals, when they want to even open an online banking account with the bank, they have a very detailed questionnaire where information and cybersecurity is a critical consideration that they are looking at. And of course, the other point is now, I said there are ESG related regulations where ESG data needs to be disclosed as part of corporate disclosure. So you now in annual reports, these are disclosed. So what about this data? Then ESG data, maybe the carbon emissions, uh, these are very sensitive data. And this very data that the reported data accuracy has to be maintained. So in terms of maintaining the confidentiality and the integrity of this data also, So we know information and cybersecurity is about mainly ensuring confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. So again, cybersecurity comes into the picture to ensure that the reported data remains accurate. So now I would like to take you through few ESG related regulations. So
Excuse Sunari.
yes, Indika.
Yeah, before we proceed, I think I got a direct question. I
Okay,
think you can also see that in the chat. Better we answer that question because you touch the point of social responsibility of an organization.
right.
I think the
Mhm.
question is as a CISO, right? So
Right.
what are your three main focus areas in developing social responsibility of an organization? So this is a question directly received from a participant.
Okay.
So if you can address these 3 points, you have a choice either to address it here or take it at the end.
Yeah, no, I think we can address this now and move forward. So, this is question one, right? Developing social responsibility of an organization. What are these three main focus areas? Okay. So, okay, go back. Yes. So, I think in terms of social responsibility, today we are talking about securing what the main thing is data from a social point of view as a CISO of an organization. So maintaining data privacy and data security is at the core of social risk. Especially, I mean, if I take the banking sector, of course, this is even more because we are dealing with customer sensitive information. So security becomes a core aspect, cyber security becomes a core aspect. So I think in terms of that, one thing is to make sure that you maintain the proper cyber hygiene in the organization. So I think in many instances, what we have seen is so uh, many organizations they are complied with different standards, maybe things like the ISO 27001 or many other standards. But in terms of actually practicing that, there are gaps. So one is maintaining basic hygiene. For example, like because I think at least a good 80%. 80 to 90% of the cyber issues that we are facing can be handled if we maintain the basic cyber hygiene. So basic cyber hygiene means making sure that your antivirus or the endpoint detection and response are up to date, making sure proper patch management, making sure that the access controls or the access management is done properly, that least privilege access is granted to users, and you do reviews in a way so that there are no often accounts that are lying here and there, which can be used by cyber attackers to attack the organization, and having proper multi-factor authentication. So as much as possible to use uh, multi-factor authentication so that even if one layer is breached, so the other layers will do the job. So I think cyber maintaining cyber hygiene is one. And as a CISO, I think the second thing I would want to do is ensure cyber resilience. So as I always say, so now we have come to a stage where we are in a situation where cyber attacks are not a thing. It's not if but when a cyber attack can happen. So as much as we have the fanciest of systems, we cannot ensure 100% protection. So we also have to look at resilience and response. So I think from a social point of view, if there is an attack on an organization, if the bank is attacked and if there, how do you respond to that incident. So incident response is the second thing that I would look at. So I think today, I think the customers will bear with you uh, uh, for an attack, but what they will not handle is if you do not handle the incident properly. So to have the proper mechanisms to handle the incident, so that customer trust today is also based on how you react to incidents, whether you have the proper crisis plans, whether you have your breach counselors, uh, to quickly handle the incidents, whether you have the mechanisms to inform the customers the right to give them the right information as to what exactly have been lost. So I think cyber resilience response plan is the second thing that I'm looking at. And of course, other thing would be about since we are increasingly using AI. So as much as AI is helping us in a lot of things, from generative AI is basically used for a lot of things, but from a corporate point of view, this can also result in data leakages. So having the right governance around AI. So somebody can, for instance, upload some customer data onto a large language model, uh, maybe to do some analytics. So if it's an open AI, so there will be a data leakage. So to have the right DLP tools and right governance models around that, I think is very important in today's day. And as I said earlier, also there are different, I mean, there may be what I call shadow AI agents. Different people may be using AI models, but there should be a governance around that so that AI agents that are used are the models are not biased or in a way that it can be harmful to the society. So, Indika, I think those are the
Yes.
thank you for that question. I think immediate attention as a CISO would be on those three.
Okay. Thank you for that elaborative answer with a lot of practical examples as well. So, over to you for the next section that you were about to start.
All right. Okay. So, yeah, we were just I was just getting into ESG related regulations, which are becoming increasingly um, popular. And also, as I said, in some countries, these are not even good to do things. These are becoming mandatory. So there are several ESG frameworks, and increasingly these ESG frameworks, which earlier used to be about mainly around the environmental aspects, the climate materiality, things like that. These now give prominence to uh, cybersecurity aspects as well. So one of the very popular frameworks on ESG is the Global Reporting Initiative. So under this Global Reporting Initiative, so there is a section on customer privacy. So when you're doing the disclosures, like on the annual reports, so it requires you to report on the concerns regarding breaches of customer privacy and losses of customer data. So basically, the number of substantiated complaints, breaches of customer privacy, then total number of identified leaks, thefts, and so these are the things that are required to be reported. So, for example, if you look at commercial banks' last year annual report, so this is one. Of course, it's voluntary. This is not mandatory by the regulator or by any other entity. So we have used this under our disclosures in the annual report. So I think with the Data Protection Act coming into place, so these will be very relevant to the corporates in Sri Lanka as data breach reporting becomes mandatory. So it would be, I mean, good business practice to do proper disclosures around these areas. So this is something that you can look at. Then another very popular ESG framework is what is called the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board, SASB. So here again, but it has this standard has different guidelines for different sectors. So, they have a specific standard for commercial banks, and if we look at this, so these are the information that they need you to report. So there are both quantitative and qualitative information. So on data security, again, they require you to report the number of data breaches, percentage that are personal data, number of account holders affected likewise. Then they also ask you to give a description of approach to identifying and addressing data security risks. So under this, there are multiple parameters that they are looking at. So they expect us to discuss how we manage the vulnerabilities, and also interestingly, whether we are following, the organization is following any frameworks for the ISMS like ISO 27001 or NIST, CIS. So likewise, these kind of information is required to be reported under this standard. So these are the global standards. So if I just look at the local aspect of the ESG, so central bank, the regulator for the finance sector, has in 2022 issued what is called Sustainable Financial Activities of License Ban. So it is mandatory that the financial institutions manage environmental, social, and governance (ESG) risks associated with the projects that they finance. So, so far, the regulator doesn't specifically mention anything about cybersecurity, but I'm sure as we go on, this will be some aspect that they will look at. And also, the IFRS, International Financial Reporting Standard, is also these are disclosure standards, and so SLFRS, this is a Sri Lankan version of it. So this requires that in 2025, the first 100 listed entities of the Colombo Stock Exchange have to do the reporting based on these standards. So again, this IFRS is basically about sustainability related financial information. It has a climate related. So S1 is a general requirements. Again, it does not specifically talk about cyber security aspects. S2 is about climate related disclosures. So since this is still in development, they refer to this SASB matrices for reporting. So again, going forward, this ISSB standards will come into play for Sri Lanka as well, as directed from the stock exchange. Okay, so with that discussion on the ESG, so I would also like to touch on some of the challenges. Now, of course, the whole expectation is given that the intersection between cybersecurity and the ESG to integrate these two. But there are, of course, some challenges. So I think the primary challenge is the siloed approach that we as organizations take about these two aspects. So I think very often cyber security is managed by the CISO and the team, whereas sustainability, these ESG related frameworks and activities of organizations are managed by a separate sustainability team. And I've seen very little coordination and communication between these teams. So I think this can lead to a challenge in integrating. Now, for example, like a sustainability team, they may be looking at some energy efficient technology. But if they don't consult the security teams, the cybersecurity teams, of course, it may be energy efficient, but there may be vulnerabilities in that solution which can open an attack surface. So, on the other hand, maybe cyber team is looking at, like, as I said, different resilience aspects, like increasing the number of data centers or using different IoT technologies without consideration on the footprint it can have on the environment, like maybe the energy or the water consumption. So we need these teams as we go on to collaborate and work together. And of course, the second challenge is the lack of awareness. So, I mean, cyber teams are only looking at cyber and they have very little knowledge on ESG and vice versa. So I think there's a very little knowledge on how these areas intersect. So that's another challenge. And of course, the resource constraints. So any CISO here or anyone who's leading the information security related teams know that we are already stressed for resources, and doing these integrations between cyber and ESG uh, these efforts can be impeded by the resource constraints, especially for smaller organizations. But of course, if we do integrate, there are a lot of opportunities to, even use ESG as a differentiator for the business. So what we need, of course, is a unified strategy. We need to break down the silos, as I said earlier, and sustainability and security related teams need to work together. And to do this, of course, I think the best way to do is to have cross-functional teams who have shared matrices. So, for example, we can set some measurable KPIs on maybe the carbon emission or the time taken to recover from cyber incidents. Likewise, we can have some measurable KPIs, shared matrices, and also include cybersecurity. So, as I said, disclosures on cybersecurity is optional in most cases as of now, but it's good practice. So, there are many banks in Australia and other parts of the world that are disclosing this using GRI and the SASB. So, it's always good to monitor and report the progress. So, this builds accountability and also transparency in terms of operations of an organization. And again, training and awareness is very, very important for teams to foster collaboration. You need to have training. And when I say collaboration, so it's not only between internally the cybersecurity team and the sustainability team, but we can look at getting external consultations like experts on cybersecurity and ESG to come and give inputs to organization partner with this so that we can improve our ESG cyber intersection. And of course, as we say, today we rely on so many third parties as organizations, but our supply chain or the organization cybersecurity is only as strong as the weakest link in the supply chain. We have seen many instances, maybe SolarWinds, likewise, where even CrowdStrike, where because of the supply chain, the organizations were impacted. So, ensuring that the partners, the vendors, the suppliers also align with high security standards is very, very important to make sure that the cyber aspect, the cyber security aspect is maintained. Then, of course, from the ESG angle, it is important that we look at not only, in most organizations, so when you're selecting suppliers, we only look at the performance or the cost. But I think as responsible organizations, we also need to look at how they handle their ESG. What is the life cycle carbon cost of these organizations, how ethical their businesses are. So these are things that we can look at. And I think finally, earlier also I spoke about green cyber security. So even many cloud providers are now looking at uh, carbon emission and to provide green infrastructure, energy efficient hardware, and consolidating systems. I think in most of our organizations, we have so many legacy systems and which we are not even using. So all of which maybe there is some old system that one or two users are using for some to get some historical data, but this is creating a huge impact on energy and maintenance. So as tech teams, we need to look at how we need to consolidate systems. And we all know, as security professionals, we like to buy various different security gadgets, but we rarely optimize them. So I think in most cases, we don't even use 30-40% of the features. So again, these are, I mean, but to run this, there's enormous amount of resources that are required. So I think it's important that we consolidate systems as well as we optimize the systems that we have. And of course, AI-based detection to reduce carbon footprint, like IoT, where you can manage and monitor the carbon footprint. So I think these are some of the opportunities that we can look to integrate cybersecurity and ESG. Uh, and in closing, so I would like to close with a quote from the Deputy CEO of the cybersecurity firm called Group IB, that cybersecurity must safeguard more than data. It must safeguard our shared future. And as I said earlier, sustainability without cybersecurity is fragile, and cybersecurity without ESG is incomplete. So the future belongs to secure and sustainable enterprises. So this brings us to the end of my presentation, and I'm open for any questions that you may have.
Yeah, thank you, Sunari, for elaborative presentation and the subject matter that you shared with us. I think we have got the second question also in the chat. If you can see, uh, it's a little bit of a funny question, but it has a essence in itself. So, question is asking,
Um,
following a reporting framework would result in that you may disclose some details which public may not get if you do not follow a framework. So they are not aware what was breached. Simply, isn't it good? So what is your professional view?
yeah, so
So
I
this is this
think
is, this is something this is something little bit of a tricky question, but you can give a professional view
correct.
on the question.
No, yeah, so I think traditionally, I mean, the instinct, of course, as an organization would be to keep it under wraps, right? So, but they don't know, cannot harm them, is the typical mentality we have about this. But I think uh, we have to move. I think we are talking about here, it's more about the ethics, right? How responsibly you handle customer data. And again, going forward, this might, from a Sri Lankan context, data reporting data breaches is not even optional, right? So when the PDPA comes into the picture, it is mandatory that you report. So the comfort that we have now of it being voluntary is won't be there anymore. So I think it's better if we already get our mind around this. So I think as tough as it is, what we need to do is to prevent, or if it happens to have the proper structure to handle it, because I mean today uh, it is very difficult to. I think it's even very difficult to hide something, right? So in the recent incidents that has happened in Sri Lanka, what we have seen is even before the organization there's a professional press release. The some of them, I mean, in the social media, this information is available, right? So some, of course, with good intentions, and some trying to be keyboard heroes by trying to say that, okay, we already saw this in the dark web, and this organization is not handling the data properly. So I think in this age and time, where and most of the data breaches, say for instance, it's in the dark web. So it's always best that I feel that your customer get to know firsthand from you which will give the proper information rather than getting to know it from a third party who can sometimes distort the message, right? So it is with their opinion that they will add to it. So yes, uh, ignorance is can be bliss, but I don't think on this instance it would be the case, or we would have that what do you call the window anymore as PDPA becomes mandatory. I hope I answered your question.
Of course, I think your last sentence of the slide, if you can go back to the previous slide before the thank you slide, what is summarized there is your answer.
Correct. So I think it's about how responsibly you act, right?
Right. I'm
Do
inviting now all the others to shoot few questions. We can take another 5 minutes to answer if there are any questions to take online itself today, because we have already covered the 1 hour time zone. So if there are any questions, we can take up. You can put it in the chat box, maybe 1 or 2 questions. Okay, until anyone types a question, there is a request for understanding about the continuing professional development credits for your participation of this webinar. If you belongs to ISACA Sri Lanka, your registration, your number is given to us. ISACA will be uploading the specific number of hours to your profile. If you belongs to any other professional bodies, maybe AT or Chartered Institute of Sri Lanka or any other professional bodies, you can request with giving your name that you registered and the details, which can be coordinated through your respective secretariat. So please follow that guideline. So team, it looks like there are no further clarification or questions. Yeah. So somebody's asking, will you be sending the recording and presentation slides as I missed the first half? Vasanta, I think all these webinars are hosted in our YouTube channel, and you are privy to look at all the slide and the fully recorded session in the YouTube channel. That's freely available to anyone who go to the channel. Okay, right. Is there any subject matter clarification? So whatever, we can take up 1 or 2 questions still. Right. It looks like Sunari, you have done a great job, and nothing to be clarified or quizzed from you, because I think enough and more substance were given today. The basically your presentation reflects the research that you have done to come out with the concept of even the Earth Overshoot Day, which actually gave me a certain thought process. So I think the similarly others will also uh, got their thought processes awakened. Okay, so the rising role of ESG. I think this is not the end of our webinar series of for the CISOs will stop with this session, but there will be more and more sessions happening from ISACA, and ISACA is happy to say the job that or the seeds that cultivated by Sunari will be further discussed in our other forums as well. So again, Sunari, taking on a Monday evening, the week has started and you have cultivated certain insights to our team. So we are very much thankful to you for preparing such a nice presentation and doing a lot of research and bringing in more of a practical examples to the table for all of our understandings. So with that note, I think it's my duty to finally remind all of you who have joined. Thank you to all of you, because of you that we made this event a success event, and please be join with us for next upcoming sessions also. Thank you, Sunari, and thank you for all the participants. On behalf of all of you, I request you all to be following up our websites and LinkedIn profiles in order to get more and more details about what's happening with ISACA. So thank you all. Good night to all of you all. See you at
thank
another
you,
ISACA
Indika.
event.
Thank you, Indika. Thank you all. Good night.